Yo, what's up, everybody? Hey, I was watching serial killers. Serial killers. Look at the Apollo. It's coming along. I told you, Don Turner told me he used to be a boxing gym over the Apollo, and that's where he used to work with Eddie Murphy's father. He used to spar with Eddie Murphy's father at the Apollo and at Salem Gym over there on 129th Street. Yep. Oh, but like I was saying, I forgot what I was talking about. That's what happens when you get old. You forget what you're talking about. It wasn't about boxing. I forgot what I was talking about. Let's talk about boxing then. Yeah, Don told me. He said that's where he used to spar. He used to spar Eddie Murphy's father up here. Charlie. Yep. Yeah, it's all over that shit. That's the thing about New York. See, people don't realize, people be joking saying New York is, Manhattan is sinking underwater. We're saying New York is sinking underwater. That's because they keep building up. They build up. When I'm down south, they build out. They build vertical. In New York, they build horizontal. Everything goes up, and people are on top of each other. They build up. And the people don't care because they're making money. So they're going to keep building up. They build up. They're making money. As long as they can make money, they're going to keep building. They're going to keep building. I've been wondering how they know how much weight you can put on the ground before it starts sinking. Remember, they used to joke and say River Park Towers was sinking. They used to joke and say it was sinking underwater. All right, y'all. I was talking about serial killers and national parks. And now that the summer's here, you got to be careful. When you go to these national parks, you got to be very, very, very careful. It's good to go along with more than just one person. He was saying how, like, some serial killers like to prey on, they're like, it's a game to them. And they like to, they like the challenge. And they like to prey. It's a challenge. And I guess if you got more people, the more the merrier for them. But you got to be careful. And they were talking about how, like, how they mess with your windshield wiper blades. And then when you go back to your car, you notice your windshield wiper blade has been tampered with. And when you go to get out your car, you get in your car. But once you get out your car to adjust your windshield wiper blade, that's when they prey upon you. But thinking about it now, they can prey upon you before you get in the car. Now that I'm thinking about it, but the guy was saying they'll tamper with your windshield wiper blade, and then when you go to adjust it, that you get in the car and you realize that it's been tampered with. Then you get out your car to check it, and that's when they prey upon you and jump on you or whatever, and they push you over in the car and drive off. I don't know how they're gonna do all that, but I guess it can be done. It's been done. A lot of these people has been kidnapped, have yet to be found at these national parks. But like I was saying, you got to be careful out there. And I think about that, like when I used to, when I drive down south, and even when like truckers and stuff like that, driving down south, you got to be real careful when you stop at those truck stops. Be real, because you're saying like serial killers like them. That's where they like to prey upon their victims. At them gas stations and stuff like the QT gas station and stuff like that. You gotta be careful. Oh man. Yep. You gotta be careful, man, when you stop at those stops. All right, y'all, I'm ready to get out of here. All right, be careful. Oh, another thing I was talking about before I go. Talking about all these religions, these white religions, and they call themselves Christian nationalists, and they're Christians. Like, Christianity is a religion that has been so corrupted, and I guess that's why they like it, because it says one thing and does another. It says one thing and it does another. You get to eat what you want. They don't abide by none of that stuff. They only abide by, like I said before, These so-called conservatives call themselves conservatives, but they love Jesus, and Jesus was a liberal. They love that liberal Jesus. And another thing is, like, all that stuff takes place in Africa, but they don't want to call it Africa. They want to call it the Middle East. But if that's the Middle East, where's the Middle West? Where's the Middle South? Where's the Middle? They call it the Middle East. They call it anything they can except for Africa. But that's what it is. They just go over there and blow up land and make canals and stuff like that. Like the Suez Canal is man-made. So that's how the Middle East became the Middle East, because they got the Suez Canal here. That was man-made. And then they just rewrite the Bible. That's why they can say we're God chosen people. Of course we're God chosen people, because they wrote it. They wrote it to say we're God chosen people. Anybody can be God chosen people if you write the book and say that. The Bible is a book that's constantly updated and re-edited to suit the modern era and time. All the books are updated. They're always being updated. They'll take a word here out and a word there. And like I said before, if you learn to read the Bible, you're reading it in English. In order to translate it from English, in order to translate it from its original language into English, you had to take something out and you had to put something in. And it's like a glass of water. Once you put an eyedrop or anything in it, it's not a clean glass of water anymore. It's been tampered with. Think about that. Too much room for interpretation, and it's constantly updated and re-edited to suit the modern era and time. The Bible. They don't even believe half the stuff they read in that Bible.